What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sac Kings Nation Kings Court podcast. I'm your host, Vincent Miracle, and this is where you get the weekly update news of your favorite team, the Sacramento Kings. On today's episode, we're talking about the reaction to the very first pre-draft workout the Sacramento Kings just hosted, my thoughts on the Pete Alessandra podcast of the CowbellKingdom just recently sent out, and my choice for who I think will become the 2015 NBA champions. Will it be the Warriors? Will it be the Cavs? And to round out the show, we will be answering all of your fan questions.
Start the show!
All right, topic number one. And this is breaking news, actually. Carl Landry has just successfully went through wrist surgery and will now be out 4 to 5 months. I tweeted it out as soon as I saw it that he was signed in 2013, and since his signing, I should say, he has played in 88 out of 164 games, which is probably just barely over 50%, like 53%. And now he's on this Kings team in a system that really doesn't fit his gameplay. He's now out 4 to 5 months, which probably gives him, I would say he misses the first 2 months of the season. First month because, that's just part of his layover, and then another month to get back into game shape before we actually see significant minutes on the floor, which makes Jason Thompson or whoever they sign as a forward, or if they're using Rudy Gay as a stretch four, or bring back Omri Casspi, is going to be a big contributor because of how thin that's going to be. Because, Reggie Evans is now gone as a free agent. Derek Williams, same thing. I know Jason Thompson's been wanting out since the last 5 years now. So what they're going to do is a big, big question now. Now, does it truly affect the Kings, though? Does it truly affect the Kings? That was the very first question that I asked myself. Does it truly affect the Kings? I don't know. I guess because you really don't have the money to be going to sign anybody that would be a contributor. You have Eric Moreland, maybe Willie Cauley-Stein. Maybe drafting him now looks more significant. You go after someone in free agency, maybe an undrafted free agent, comes around and looks really good. Small ball is going to be the big thing for sure now. Maybe you're definitely going to see Rudy Gay moving to that 4 spot as soon as the season starts next to Cousins. But is it significant? Was Carl Landry that big of a contributor anyways? 88 games last 2 years. He's played only basically a full season, 6 games over actually a full season in the last 2 years. And it is what it is. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Leave your guys' comments in the comments section below if you guys think that the Carl Landry injury is a significant one and that the Kings are going to have to find a player that's going to. Guys' comments in the comments section below. And our first topic of the day, now that we're out of the breaking news, is I want to touch on the podcast, the Pete Alessandra podcast that the CowbellKingdom did. Was that not informative? Was that not one of the best podcasts of the Sacramento Kings and what's been going on out there right now? It really was, right? That was probably the most informative podcast. You got to get a true insight from someone who's a beat writer for the Sacramento Kings and someone who is a writer for the entire NBA, and what they hear and what they see completely inside that locker room and everything. You know what I mean? So that was something that was truly fun to see and listen to. Some of the biggest takeaways, was that Pete Alessandro, the only reason why he has a job is because George Karl has asked for him to stay on. That's what was quoted in saying, is that's why he has a job, is because of that camaraderie he has built up with, George Karl. Now that rumor is out about the whole Pete Alessandro out for St. John's and for St. John's athletic director, I think this is just a long-hearted goodbye. It's just a, they're just waiting for that right time to be like, you know what, he's gone. It just doesn't seem like he's going to stay. He's definitely, Pete Alessandro is not going to be here after his contract is over, which is after this season. So there's 1 year left. He can go to college, to the college that he went to, and be the athletic director for his alumni school. Now that Vlade Divac's going to be taking the helm of it, it's really not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? No, it's even said on the podcast, like, no one's going to be sorry that he's gone. Are you? I mean, as fans, are you? I mean, he gave away Isaiah Thomas for chump change on a team that should never be doing that. When you have talent, you have to keep it as much as possible in Sacramento, unless you're going to get at least some talent back, like a first rounder. I don't know. I mean, he got us Rudy Gay. He helped us with the cap. You know, now we have a little bit of space with money-wise, but I mean, it's not truly a lot. So, I mean, this is going to be a pivotal offseason, I think, for him. I think the draft is really going to find what happens if he even stays on that long. But, I mean, he's not even having the final say in anything. Like, he can throw out his opinion, but so could the people that did the whole fan analytic thing last year. I mean, that's what he is. He's an analytic guy now. Like, that's it. Like, he's that guy that, like, well, what do you think? I mean, what did the numbers say? Okay, keep managing the budget. We're going to take that in consideration. Basically, what they did with the fans when they did the whole... I can't remember what it was called, but basically the Kings 3.0 thing where the fans came in and did their analytics on who Kings should go and draft. Remember in the Grantland, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about, the Grantland video. I mean, watch it again if you haven't seen it. What was it called? Crowdsourcing. It was one of those things when you listen to that podcast too, where I was just kind of like, really? To just some of it. You know what I mean? Like, really? I mean, DeMarcus Cousins, you as a front office know that you were extending a contract to a potential Hall of Fame, like all-star. He is an all-star, but I should say, as James Ham would put it, he has the talent of a Hall of Famer, but has the mentality and the maturity of a temperamental player. Like he has a short fuse. Let's be honest. We've seen it. You can't say like, oh, you can't talk about Cousins that way because it's true. He is a temperamental player. So when you're making him your scapegoat in everything that you are doing, the signing of George Karl, and everything that the moves you're trying to make just to basically for Pete D'Alessandro to save his own ass so he's not going to be, in trouble with his boss is ridiculous. And that's stuff that they should know. That's stuff that he should know. And I love what James and Aaron said on that podcast when they're like, he's a yes man. And you can't be a yes man when you're a GM, when you can't tell your boss no as a general manager of a basketball team, of an NBA basketball team, is where there's a problem. Now, I'll say this as well, is that I think Vivek is starting to realize that. I think that Jerry Jones syndrome is finally starting to go away, or the new owner syndrome where he feels like he needs to be involved in every little thing. Like that Nick Stauskas drafting right there that happened last year's draft, that was a Vivek Ranadive pick. I mean, that's what it comes off as. I mean, watch that video. That's what it comes off as. And they were just like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I think he's starting to realize that because Vlade Divac, George Karl, those are two very strong-minded men. And they're going to speak their mind. George Karl has a history of it. Vlade Divac was a leader. He's a winner. He's made it to the playoffs. He's been in the trenches. He knows what it takes to be a winning team. I think he's starting to realize that, and I think you're going to start seeing a lot less media, I would say, interviews and things like that with Vivek Ranadive, with Pete D'Alessandro, and more with Vlade Divac, and more with George Karl, because I think those are the two that really have this say-so in what happens with this team moving forward, which is a good thing to me. I mean, to have two men who don't mind expressing their mind, expressing who they have interest in, expressing what needs to happen with their teams, at least from their mindsets, and then they collide, that's never a bad thing in my opinion. Now, could there be problems in it? Yes, of course. I mean, but just like any relationship, like let's say you're in a couple relationship, you guys argue. But I mean, in some way you guys figure out to do it. And I think that's what kind of happened with Malone and D'Alessandro is they argued and then they had to break up. They needed to find a way to break up. I think this is now the breakup and the move on. And hopefully this move on is something into something better, something stronger. And that's all we can hope for as fans. I hate when people are like, oh, we should do this. But we have no say in any of it. That's the thing. Everything is subjective until something actually happens. So we can keep saying this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. But really, we have no say in what happens. We have no say this could, this has to. But really, we're just waiting. And that's the best part. So I want to be waiting on not a yes man like Pete D'Alessandro anymore. And I think that's what the Kings front office and owner Vivek Ranadive and everyone's going with. And I think that's what that podcast was saying. At least that's how I interpreted it, is they're done with being yes men. They want to start being something more. They want people that will actually say what's on their mind so they can come to the right decision. And if that's the direction we're going in, as fans, we have to be excited. So our subjective thoughts and our subjective opinions, so we're not just stuck with, oh, I think this should happen. You know what? With having two people that express their minds, that possibility of what you're saying is more of a possibility than what it was probably before. Because let's say Vlade Divac thinks they need a big man, but George Karl's like, no, we need a wing player. And we have all these people split down the middle. Now, I mean, that's what it is. When before, and I hope this is making any sense, it's basically like if Vivek wanted a shooter, Pete wanted a shooter. And there was no way around it. Now, when you have these two, Vlade, George, and Vivek on the side, you have, oh, I need a big man. No, I need a shooter. Well, I mean, what does this team really need? They break it down. They get into it. More than just analytics, more than anything. They know what needs to be on a floor. They're on the NBA floor. They've either played it or they've coached it. And that's what they need on their team. And I think and I hope you guys know what I'm getting at. If not, this is just a rant for the ages of where you're like, what the hell is he talking about? But let me know what you guys think. Are you guys wanting a Pete D'Alessandro departure? Are you guys, like, oh, let's give him another chance? Leave your guys' comments in the comment section below as we move on to topic number 2, which is brought to you by Brickhouse Industries. Yes, guys, I said Brickhouse Industries. They are now the second sponsor of the Kings Court. I'm actually wearing a Brickhouse Industry hat, even though you guys can't see because this is now just turning into an audio podcast only. But definitely go on BrickHouseIndustries.com. They got their innovative thinkers thinking of new, material types of clothing to come out with. I know that they're working on a sweater right now, which is really cool. They let me see it. It's, you have a hoodie and you have the two pockets that your left hand and your right hand go in, and usually you can like play with your fingers right in the middle of that pocket. Well, if you pull that little holster down right in the middle of the top of that pocket, there resides a beer holder for you, or a cup holder that keeps your drink cool. And for all those beer, Bud Light drinkers and stuff like that, pop open the top right there. There's actually a bottle top opener inside of the sweater. It's really cool. I actually really want one. They're going to be going on sale soon. So go to BrickHouseIndustries.com. Use the promo code TheKingsCourt and get a discount on us. But yeah, so let's move on to the headline thing. It was that pre-draft workout, the first one that, and I keep getting all these things of, are they going to have better ones? I mean, these are no names. I see that. I see that everywhere. Kings app, Twitter, like, oh, I mean, I don't care about these players. I want to see the real ones. I want to see the lottery picks, and for me, I'm like, I understand what you're saying. I do. I understand what you're saying out there, but let's keep it in perspective of when you look at those players, could that be a second round pick that they're going after? Could that be an undrafted rookie that they actually saw potential in? We're going to get the Justice Winslows in here. We're going to get I bet you they're going to try and get Kristaps Porzingis. They're going to try and get a Willie Cauley-Stein. They're going to get them all lined up to come in here for a workout. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? It always happens. But these are the players that could be a Wesley Matthews later on down the future. Wesley Matthews was a second-round pick. Could be an Isaiah Thomas, a second-round pick. A Ray McCallum. We get those guys in. We work it in. Now, who are the headliners of it? I mean, maybe a Shaquille. I don't even know his last name, or McNeely from Sac State. And that, honestly, those two were the biggest standouts. Those two were the ones that I was actually watching that I was like, I liked them. I liked watching them. Are they anything to write home about? No, not at all. They were nice to see. And I mean, there were things that I saw that I didn't like either. Like Charlie Jackson, I didn't really like what I saw from him through this video, and take that with a grain of salt, because let's be honest, these videos that they put up of the pre-draft workout is just them doing good. Like, you never see them miss a shot. You know what I mean? You never really see him do anything. However, with Charles Jackson's, there's a part in there where he goes right, he jabs right, and then goes left after off a catch. It's towards the end of the video. He actually travels. So that's just footwork. I mean, that could just been a one-time thing, but I mean, he does travel. I look at little things like that because they're not going to show you anything bad. So you have to look for something, right? But yeah, honestly, the two that really stood out to me was Shaquille McKissick. I think his last name is McKissick. I liked him. He looked very quick, very athletic. And I like the kid from Sac State, Mike McKinney. I mean, you don't see a lot, but it looks like he can shoot. I mean, he looked poised the entire time, and that's what I really liked. You know what I mean? Being that you went from Sac State and then you're watching the Kings and now you're like, oh, I'm in their arena trying out to be on the team. That has to be pretty, like, you know, for all of them. But, I mean, being that you're Sacramento and then you're brought in for a Sacramento workout, that was kind of cool. But, yeah, them two are the biggest standouts to me. I want to know your guys' thoughts like always, you know. Do you guys agree? Disagree? I'm trying to keep this episode very, very short and let you guys know that it's going to be a very interactive show moving forward. So let's go ahead and move on into my thoughts for the NBA Finals. I got Warriors in 7. And first I had it Warriors in 6, but then I was like, I'd be completely crazy to bet against LeBron in Cleveland. So I moved it to 7. I'm going to lock in my answer, Warriors in 7. It's going to be a good series, but it all depends on Kyrie's health. I mean, that's what gets me. Like, I don't really know how healthy Kyrie is. Excuse me. I know that Clay is going to definitely be on there. You know, he's playing. He got cleared earlier today. We were filming on June 2nd. Should be posted either Wednesday or Thursday. But, I mean, it wasn't really anything too... I'm not really going to be surprised by anything. Are you guys even excited about this finals? Because I'm honestly really not. I don't know why. I'm just like not as thrilled. Maybe because we had to wait the last 7 days to see it. I had to wait a week to see a playoff game. Like, that sucked. I mean, we've been getting spoiled with too many back-to-backs and a game after the next day, after the next day, after the next day. But I'm really just not that excited. I'm not. I mean, especially for this very first game, it's like a feeler game. I mean, you only get to play these opposing teams twice out of the year. You know, now you don't get to play for a week. You just saw a ton of film. They're just going to play more strategically than ever, more than it is anything else. I mean, that's for most games, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying when I'm saying that. I mean, they're going to play through what they saw on film more than what they've been doing on the court, if that makes any sense. It's hard that I'm saying that I'm going against LeBron, too. Like, man, you're betting against the King. You're going against the best player in the NBA, in the world. But I have to. I mean, Steph's playing phenomenally. The Warriors are playing phenomenally. They've had a phenomenal season. Best offensive and defensive team in the league. No one can keep up with that pace. But I will say that have been struggling with turnovers, and you turn over against this Cavs teams, they're going to score on you. They're going to score on you. And it's going to be good to see. I want to see what Draymond Green does with Tristan Thompson, because if he's giving up offensive rebounds, that's going to be a problem. That's my thought. I have the Warriors in 7. What do you guys have? Warriors 7, Warriors 6, Warriors 5, Warriors 4. Who's sweeping? Who's winning? You got the Cavs of 4, 5, 6, or 7. Let me know. Comment section below. If you guys want a full audio version of this thing, go ahead and go to our Stitcher radio station. The link's in there down there below as well. Or you can just download the show on iTunes as we go ahead and move on to fan questions. And the fan questions are brought to you by The Quality Shop. For quality clothes at a quality price, be sure to go to The Quality Shop located in downtown Roseville. They are now a boutique and bistro. So if you're looking for a cup of coffee, a chill time, looking for some nice clothes going into the summer, definitely go check them out. Say that the Kings Court sent you, and you'll definitely get a discount from us. As we go into the fan questions here, the first question comes from UFC is MMA. It's actually a question off of the YouTube channel. He asks, have you ever thought about doing a sleeper video on the draft? No, not necessarily, but I will say that the two players that are on the radar, I mean, their potential lotteries, potential falling out of the lottery, is Cameron Payne. I really like him. I like the point guard. He's nifty. He can shoot. He does have a handle. He's I think he's going to be like a Monte Ellis type of player. And then the other player is Devin Booker. I like him. He's a shooter. I really like the comparison to Klay Thompson. I think he always stays poised, calm, cool, and collected. But have I thought about doing a sleeper video? No, not really. If I do one, I think it would probably be if I can get someone from like a Draft Express or, NBA Draft.net. I've been emailing all of them, just cold emailing them, trying to see if I can get on the show. No one's really responding, but as soon as I do, I will definitely put up a, sleeper video. So thank you, UFC is MMA. JGut378 asks, realistic free agents that the Kings could target. I heard about the Wes Matthews rumors. I mean, that would be an awesome signing, especially because I believe he would be coming off a discounted price because of the injury. I mean, he's still going through rehab, so that would be a nice signing, a nice pickup. I would love to have him. A Robin Lopez, another player that I would love to have on this team. Costa Koufos, I mean, that's a player that we know is on the Kings' radar. It's gonna have to be these low end but like affordable players. And I would love someone like a Corey Brewer or a, like I said, a Robin Lopez or a Wes Matthews. I mean, Wes Matthews would be a signing. You know what I mean? That would be a vastly improving signing for this team. I mean, the only one we can really say that we know is 100% true, or I guess rumored to be true, is the Kings are still interested in Costa Koufos. Other potential free agents, I want to get past the draft first because I think also who they draft is really going to affect it. So, JGut378, appreciate the question. As we move on here is from Jasmine Alexander. He has the next 4, so here's the first one of 4. Re-sign D. Will, why or why not? Simple, no, we do not re-sign him. Why? He didn't improve. Eric Moreland versus Willie Cauley-Stein is question number 2. They're the same player. And I hate when people tell me, oh, but he's not proven. Moreland's not proven. Neither is Willie Cauley-Stein. Are you kidding me? He's coming out of college. He has not seen one day on an NBA floor. Eric Moreland helped propel the Sacramento Kings preseason team to a championship. Averaged 3 blocks a game. Played in the D-League. Has seen a couple minutes in the NBA. I mean, they basically do the same exact thing. They basically do the same thing. Now, what I will keep saying is I am not a Willie Cauley-Stein, hater. I'm not. I like Willie Cauley-Stein. I just don't like him at 6. And I'll keep repeating myself on that. As we move on to question 3 from Jasmine Alexander. Omri Casspi underrated? Should he start again? Is he underrated? No. He's definitely not underrated. He is a role player at best. Should he start again? I think it depends on, like I said, who we draft. I mean, if the Kings draft Justice Winslow, I want Justice Winslow to start over Omri Casspi. I want to see what he is. It's not that the Kings are going to be a playoff team next year. I don't see that happening. I think that this new, fast-paced thing is something that's going to be not a quick growing thing. I think it's like a 2-year project, and then if it starts progressing, then we'll see something. But no, I don't see him starting again. But I mean, this Carl Landry injury is something that maybe he does now. So is he underrated, though, to answer that question? No, he's not underrated. He's a limited dribbler. I honestly feel like when I watch him, I already know what he's going to do. He's going to go fake left, go right, and then float it up with his left while transitioning and jumping in the air to his right. You know what I mean? That little floater thing that he does while in the paint. He's going to do that. I feel like everything he does is predictable. So once again, is he underrated? No. Should he start? I mean, let me see what the draft looks like. And his 4th and final question from Jasmine Alexander is, does Ray have a future with the Kings? I mean, I don't know. I know he's available because, James Ham comes on the show and he says the Kings look at him as like a 3rd-string point guard, that he has improved, but he hasn't really shown enough. I mean, we've kind of seen that too. Like when the season started, him and Ramon Sessions were battling to see minutes, and then he didn't really show anything. And then Darren Collison went out. They traded Ramon Sessions. They brought in Andre Miller. Then them two are kind of like flip-flopping the position. Then he becomes a full-time starter. But at the end of the season, where they're playing like D-League player teams, no one's really 100% trying against this team. They're just prepping for playoffs. I like him. Does he have a future with this team? Maybe. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was gone either. So that's my thought on that. And then the last question from Nate Johnson is, have you ever slept with any of the cheerleaders? Well, let me be honest with you. No. I know not one of them. I'm not attractive enough to get with any of them. But I do got game. And if any of them thought I was cute and they're like, around, and I was like ballsy enough to walk up to one of them, was like, hey, you're a cheerleader dancer, was good. I do it, but I'm one of those people, like, if you're trying to pick up someone, it has to be like a one-on-one type of situation where, like, maybe like I go to a bar and a girl's sitting right there and like, hey, can I buy you a drink? And then a conversation kind of stirs up and I make her laugh type thing, and then we're chit-chatting, and then because I'm there with my boys, I don't go to a bar by myself, so my boys be coming up with me, they come and say hello, and then like we all start chit-chatting, and then she has her friends, and then we keep that tension going. I'm just like giving you guys game pointers, so for those who don't got game, take some notes right now, you know what I mean? And one thing leads to another, and maybe something happens. Maybe I get lucky on Thursday night dollar beer nights. You know what I mean? Maybe. Who knows? But have I ever been with a cheerleader? Hell no. But thank you for your question. All right, guys, that is our episode today for this episode of the Kings Court, brought to you by StatKingsNation.com. Look, guys, we are only 10 subscribers away from hitting 100, so please share this video. If you're not a subscriber yet, hit that subscribe button. I really would appreciate that from you guys. Also, again, I want to let you guys know that we are doing a Patreon campaign. So if you guys can hit that description below, hit that Patreon campaign thing. We're looking for a little bit of donations to improve this content. We want to get players and coaches in here. We want to be at Media Day, and the only way we can do that is showing that this show is going to continuously get better, and we have the fan support from it. So go ahead and do that. We're also going to have t-shirts on for sale so everyone can see. Those are the t-shirts that we're going to be giving away. They're going to come in purple and black. They're going to look so sweet. They're going to be on sale for $15. If you're a donator, you get one right away. And so definitely go check that stuff out. Go to StatKingsNation.com. We have articles going up as much as possible. We're trying to constantly get up content. There will be an article, of course, of the Carl Landry surgery, of the mock draft part 3 comes out on Thursday, the day of the finals. So you guys can see how this lottery rounds out. Stat Kings Nation also just hired on a new writer. His name is Josh Means. Go follow him. Go follow him on Twitter. J Means instead of an S at the end, put a Z. Say that Vince said you're a writer. Let me hear your thoughts on him. He actually just had his first article get published on StatKingsNation.com. It's called Sacramento Kings Draft Options. You guys go check that out. Once again, hit that like button if you guys like this video. Follow me on Twitter at VMCenter. Follow Marley Silverbrand, the video editor, at M Silverbrand. Josh Means again at J Means. Means with the ends with a Z. And of course, guys, become a subscriber. We are only 10 away from 100. Go to our Patreon page. If you want an audio-only version of the show, download it on iTunes. Go to our Stitcher Radio. Again, all in the description below. And until next time, Sacramento Kings fans, bye-bye.